We're coming to a clearer section in this meadow now, so it's not as bad. Still quite tall, but not as bad as it was. I keep getting messages from a lot of my new subscribers, all asking the same question. What's your profession? What do you do? I'm a motor mechanic. I left school at the age of 16 and got myself an apprenticeship at a garage, a 4-year apprenticeship as an apprentice motor mechanic. And I got sent to college for training, and so I did blocks at college, days at college, and then also working at the garage. And that was over a 4-year period. And back then you used to take what they called sitting guilds. You had craft part 1, which everybody took, and depending on how you did on the craft test, you were put forward to technicians if you did really well, or if you didn't do particularly well, you stayed in the craft and did craft part 2. So I did craft part 1, I did really well, so I went into technicians and did technicians part 1, then I did craft part 2, then I did technicians part 2, all sitting guilds, all certificated. Then you had to do your national skills test, which for me I had to go down to Greenford, North London, and sit a national exam. So I did that one as well. I also had my national crafts, so I had loads of certificates, and I really enjoyed it. So within a 4 period of leaving school and doing my apprenticeship, I had all the qualifications you could get. The only way you could go on from there was to go into like a management training. But unfortunately, we were called into the office we were called, all the 4 apprentices at that year who I was with, were called into the manager's office, and the manager said to us that due to the current conditions within the motor trade, that they were unable to offer us a job at the end of our 4-year apprenticeship. So when it got to the 4 years since we started, we were out of work. It was a 4-year apprenticeship contract. It wasn't like we were sacked, it was just that our contract finished, but they were unable to offer us a job at the end of it. So I went on from there to a Datsun garage, and I did 3 years on Datsuns. Then the Vauxhall garage where I'd done my original apprenticeship had a job become available, so I applied for it and got back. I went back to Vauxhalls again. And I went back to Vauxhalls for 6 years after that. So I'd done a 4-year apprenticeship, 3 years at Datsun, back to Vauxhalls, and I did 6 years at Vauxhalls. And then I had a bit of a change. Go on, off you go, guys. And I went to, where did I go to after that? I'm trying to think now. Did I go to, I went to the body shop. That's it. I went to a body shop, and I worked as a stripper fitter and their own technician. So I was doing service work, and I was also helping them do strip fit work for the body shop. That was great. That was such a good job. I did body shell jobs, which was a lovely job. I used to love doing body shells. They don't do those anymore. If a car needs a body shell now, they're just written off. But back then, oops, just trying to pull my gaiters up. They got so wet. Oh, they got so wet they're falling down. So yes, I worked in a body shop for 5 years. That was fantastic. I really enjoyed that. Then I ended up going back to that original Vauxhall garage again. So that was my 3rd time going back to it. And I did another 4-year stint there. Then I left there after 4 years and went to work for my first Japanese garage. And that was Suzuki's. I went to work for Suzuki. That was brilliant. I loved that. That was so good. But again, I did 4 years there. I left there. I went to work for Toyota. And I did 5 years at Toyota. Then I came away from the franchised garages, and I went to some independent garages. And the year then was about 2008. So I went to independent garages after that. And I stayed in the independent garages for 7 years. So in 2015, I went back to a Japanese garage. They dealt in Hondas and Suzuki's, Renaults. That was it, I think, at the time, or Dacias. That's all they dealt in then. They've got more franchises now, and I'm still with them now. I've been with them now 9 years now, and like I said, I've only got a year and a half left before I reach my retirement, at which time I am intending to retire from the big garages. I will get myself a part-time job doing something else, but I want to get out of the garage trade. I've done nothing but cars all my working life, and I'd like to get away from it a little bit if I can. And I'd like the next job for it to be somewhere where April can actually be dressed as April and not be in overalls, where I can have my hair out and my makeup on and skirts and dresses, or casual jeans and jumpers or t-shirts, that sort of thing. I don't want to be in a garage environment in overalls for the rest of my working career. I want to find another job. So that's where we are. So yes, to all those who have asked, my job or what I do is I'm a motor mechanic, qualified motor mechanic, and have been since I left school. Right, I think that's answered that one. I'm sure somebody will ask again at a later date, but there you go, you're up to date. Right, I'm going to sign out, guys, and I shall speak to you later. Bye-bye.